a ton to get into this morning. Ramon Foster, Kayla Anderson, Will Bowling. It is a fantastic time to sign up for a VolQuest's subscription. You have got Tennessee on a recruiting heater unlike anything we've seen in quite some time with Josh Heupel as Austin joins us here this morning. Austin, just a little bit to talk about today. What's up, man?
I'm doing great, guys, and you're right. They are on a heater. I mean, it's been impressive, and they're not done yet. Obviously, there's a few more very talented players set to announce their decisions over the next month, and we'll see if Tennessee can close any of them out between now and, let's say, August 17th.
Well, Austin, I'll start with the two who, it's a great note that we'll continue to get to. The two guys who committed over the weekend, and Lagonza Hayward, the safety, and Deshun Bra, who flips from Oregon. Austin, from reading y'all's interviews with them on VolQuest, it seems like a trend is this staff recruiting and evaluating guys early in their careers, being the first or second teams to offer these really good prospects. Do you feel like that is a strength of this Josh Heupel staff?
Yeah, I mean, credit to the recruiting department. You look at, whether it's, the scouting department, watching tape, getting it in front of the coaches, and the coaches saying, yeah, let's go on this guy. I really like him. Right on down to the relationship building. I was just answering this question on our message board. Basically, like, do you feel like they've, been able to close out and get their fair share this cycle more so than last time? And I said, yeah, I just think they've got far deeper rooted relationships in this cycle. And then I think the O linemen, that Glenn Ellerby has pulled in this cycle, I think really have jived with him from a demeanor standpoint, from a personality standpoint. Alec Ablin's done a fantastic job with getting Deshun Bra and Jack Van Dorslayer. I mean, that's two guys that are going to really help this football program. Kelsey Pope's continued to do well. Joey Halsley continues to be a phenomenal at recruiting quarterbacks. I mean, the guy just he's great at relationship building with the position, and has done a really nice job. And then, of course, you got Josh Heupel, who came in and everybody said, "Oh, he's not a really good recruiter." That wasn't necessarily true. He had been in Missouri. It's different to recruit there, as an OC. Oklahoma, different to recruit there as an OC. And then Central Florida as a head coach. I think he quickly adapted and has been really good since he's been here. This staff has gotten better over time as well, just understanding the speed of the SEC, especially at Tennessee.
VolQuest's Austin Price joining us here on Ramon, Kayla, and Will. So, Austin, let's start with Brahim in terms of these specific prospects. He told you guys he is a receiving threat in the pass game, versatile, in line and blocking, a split in the slot or outside. If you could give a quick scouting report on what this guy does best as one of the top 5 tight ends in the country in this class, where would you begin?
Well, he high points the ball. He's got great explosiveness, can jump. Again, is your more modern, vertical passing threat as a tight end. Whereas like Van Dorslayer's over 240 pounds. Like physically, he probably could go to practice at Tennessee tomorrow and wouldn't miss a beat right now. Like whereas Brahim, I think he's got to put on some more weight, but I mean he's got the frame to do it. He's going to quickly put on weight when he gets here. When he gets in there, and Ramon knows this. Actually, I'm not sure they really gave Ramon the peanut butter milkshakes, but when they start giving him the peanut butter milkshakes to throw on weight, like he's going to have the frame that's going to do it in a hurry. So, Brahim is got really good hands, explosiveness. Again, can really jump and will be a real target in the red zone. So, I think Tennessee's got 2 versatile tight ends that complement each other really, really well. And, they've in a really good spot with Carson Snead out of Nashville, tight end for 2026. They'll continue to recruit Kendra Harrison, the tight end from over, in Reedsville, North Carolina, which is near Greensboro, about 20 minutes down the road from Faison Brandon, who Tennessee's heavily involved with. And the tight end position is something that, they want to continue to add and build depth with.
Austin Price with us this morning of On 3 and VolQuest. Austin, when we look at this conversation around Deshun Bra, What went into the actual flip? I know I saw George McIntyre, a commit 5-star quarterback for the Vols, say, hey, good luck, man. We hate you're not at UT, but there was a lot of love still sent to Deshun Bra is what I'm saying. What gave the Vols the idea that he will be a guy that they can potentially flip within 2 weeks of his commitment to Oregon?
Well, what gave me the idea was when Deshun Bra called and said, I think I made a mistake. And that was pretty much it. At that point, it was game on. And, Deshun really wanted to come here to begin with. And I know he didn't. And people go, well, he didn't pick there. Well, Oregon made a big push, and people that understand how college football is here, they understand what I'm talking about, right? They went pretty NIL heavy on him, and same thing what they did with the Sharma kid who was going to Texas about 20 minutes before he committed to Texas, and then he picked Oregon and has since, much like Brame, flipped back to Texas. So Brame ultimately just decided, hey, the money and stuff, that sounds great, but I'd rather be happy. And he's just happy here. He wants to be here. Most people know his girlfriend is on the Lady Vols, one of the Lady Vol athletes. And so I don't think that that's why he picked Tennessee. I think he wanted to be here. She was a nice, feather in Tennessee's cap, to say, hey, I'll be here too, But, I think Tennessee just did a nice job of selling themselves. He really wasn't a big fan of Eugene. He loves Knoxville. And I think the further he got away from the actual commitment to Oregon, the more he realized, hey, I really just don't want to be there. He called Tennessee. Tennessee said, all right, let's go. And he was going to wait till the Alabama game and come in during the season. And then he called Tennessee again and said, I don't want to wait that long. I want to come in next weekend. And I think he had technically – may have even booked flights before Tennessee even knew he was coming. He wanted to expedite the process and just really, just loved Tennessee. And that's the biggest reason why, he flipped.
Man, girls and money, Austin. Nah, I kid. Kayla has said that about Eugene, though. Kayla mentioned that probably a couple months ago. That Eugene is just Eugene. I know Knoxville's a college town too, but with that being said, though, Austin, the attraction of going to Knoxville, it seems to be Tennessee is getting to a point. Not there. I don't know if they're there yet. Maybe you can tell me, but they can be somewhat selective in picking these guys because if you look at Shady Hayward, you look at Douglas Utu, Marion Dye. I mean, they're guys that are specifically built for those positions, not tweeners, not flexible guys, or hey, we're lucky to get them. Austin, this profile seemed to have changed as of late when it comes to the Vols recruiting. To a place they weren't even at. I mean, in the a sweet era of UT, I feel like maybe go back to former where you can be selective, but now it seems like they're getting to that point again.
Yeah, I don't know if they're to the point where they can just pick and choose, but I think they are to the point where you're involved with players that are at the top end of their position. And that means you're going against Georgia and Alabama and Oregon and Ohio State and Texas and places like that. You're not beating out Purdue and Louisville, okay? And so I think that the level of player that Josh Heupel is recruiting now is far better than when he got here. And we get asked all the time, or people make comments all the time, I thought we'd get more of a rub from that 2022 season. I just don't feel like we've got that. See, I disagree with that notion. I think that Tennessee has been getting that rub because they're recruiting a better former player. Now you got to go out and win some of those battles, and it's a little bit more difficult. You're not going to bat 1,000 when you're battling these other high end teams. Because guess what? Recruiting's tough. If it was easy, then everybody would be able to do it at a high level. So they started to win some battles, and obviously depending on which service you looked at, 24/7 has Tennessee in the top 5 on 3, just outside the top 5, and Tennessee will continue to progress if they can add Onis Conan Banning. If they're able to get David Sanders in the boat on August 17th. All these things have Tennessee trending to be in a top 5 class in the 2025 cycle, and that's fantastic for Josh Heupel because it's more he can sell. But once let's say we get we look back at this a month from now and you see David Sanders in the boat, Conan Banning on the boat, and all that momentum's there. How do you build on that? Nico, the ultimate litmus test for NIL, right? He's got to go play well. Tennessee's got to go win games. And so they're recruiting a better caliber of player, Ramon, and I think that's the biggest reason why you've seen Tennessee, kind of look different, and their roster looks different.
Austin Price of VolQuest's join us on RKW on this Monday morning, usually on Tuesdays, but do it a little bit ahead of time because it was such a big weekend. So, Austin, let's get back to David Sanders. That's the big announcement that they're kind of waiting on with his commitment. You mentioned August 17th. And I know Nebraska in the mix, but Tennessee, do they look to be the favorite right now? And if Nebraska, is up there, why?
Well, Dylan Raiola has really worked on David Sanders extremely hard. I think for Nebraska, they had to get him back this past weekend just to have any shot at all. He had only been there the one time. He's been to Ohio State 4 or 5 times. He's been to Knoxville 7 or 8 times. He's been to Athens 4 or 5 times. Nebraska, he'd only seen once, and it was over Mother's Day weekend for his official visit, and, they had to get him back. I thought it was more telling that he did not go to Ohio State this weekend. They were the team left off. But, I do feel like I've said for a long time, I feel like Tennessee's in a tremendous spot with David Sanders. They've, really cultivated and built relationships, whether it be with Josh Heupel and Glenn Ellerby or somebody like Kevin Pendleton, who, played for Ellerby, who's one of the assistant O-line coaches. He's really tight with George McIntyre. He talks to other players, like Deshun Bra, that are in Tennessee's class. And that's not to say he doesn't talk to players like Tavian St. Clair, who's committed to Ohio State, because he does. But I think when you factor everything in, the distance from home, how easy it is to either get on a 40-minute flight and go across the mountains or just drive 3.5 hours. I mean, the fact that the family was having David drive the leg from Charlotte to Knoxville to get a feel for it, tells you how serious Tennessee is in this recruitment. And so the family's done a fantastic job, Kayla, of, kind of building a wall around David and letting him be a kid and, shielding him from a bunch of stuff. And I think that's helped the process. And they've handled the recruitment really, really well. You got 2.5 weeks or so before he announces. And I would say you'll hear a bunch of rumors and chatter out there. And, if they do it right, which is don't tell the schools you're not picking that you're not picking them, then, it's probably not going to leak out because the Sanders family have done a fantastic job of not talking.
Yeah, seems like it. Let's get into quarterbacks. And 2025 recruiting class, obviously George McIntyre. Then you've got the 2026 5-star quarterback commit in Faison Brandon, who is continuing to, be courted by Tennessee. Seems like he has a lot of interest. You've got Nico Iamaleava this year. Question is, can this become the future quarterback with Josh Heupel heading it up? And why could it, just with the development maybe that could go on there?
Well, I think a lot of it depends on, obviously, what you saw at Hendon 2 years ago, but, the growth you saw from Joe from 2 to 3 years ago to, what you saw last year. Nico continues to progress. Same thing with, getting, Jake Merklinger or George McIntyre, eventually, potentially a Faison Brandon. Faison will commit next Saturday, and Tennessee continues to be in a tremendous spot there as well. But, yeah, I mean, it could be. A lot of it depends on the success Tennessee has, though. It all depends on the development, the success. And, quarterbacks they move the needle more than any other position in football, but you still have to have some people around. I mean, Tennessee's got a lot of, really good players around Nico this year, and, if Tennessee can keep him upright and healthy, then, and he is who, Josh Heupel expects him to be, then, Tennessee could really take off. So, yeah, there's the possibility there to kind of have a nice run of quarterbacks the way Clemson did when they went from Taj Boyd, to, right down the line through Trevor Lawrence and everybody else. So it's one of those things where you just got to continue to, see growth at the position. And right now they're recruiting at a high level at the quarterback spot.
Austin Price of VolQuest's our guest here this morning on Ramon, Kayla, and Will. Austin, as Tennessee opens fall camp on Wednesday, is there one or two players not named Nico Iamaleava you are most interested to watch in person as Tennessee starts camp?
Well, for newcomers, it's Jordan Ross. Yeah, to me, that's pretty simple. I think he can play this fall. The kid from Alabama, the freshman, he walked in the door at over 240 pounds. They're going to give him a few peanut butter milkshakes, try to get him up to 250, and I think that will play well. On the offensive side of the ball, what kind of growth do we see out of Mike Matthews and Braylon Staley from spring to now? Where's Brew McCoy at? If he kind of hits the ground running, and how quick can Cam Selden get back? I don't think we're going to know that for a few weeks as far as where he's at. But, I did have the chance to run into him when I was at the facility a couple of weeks ago. And I said, how you doing? And he looked at me with a big grin. And he goes, I feel fantastic. Now, again, a little bit of that could be posturing. But I think at the same time, I do think, based off talking to some people, he's done a nice job healing to this point. So the quicker Tennessee can get him back, the better, because Tennessee is not, he's not real experienced, but, they're even less experienced behind him.
It is a great time to join VolQuest as Tennessee opens up fall camp, continues recruiting some elite prospects. Austin Price joins us every week here on the show. Brent Hubbs every Friday, of course, as well. Excellent stuff as always, Austin. We made it. Practice is here. Football is back. Brent scolded me over the weekend, or on Friday. I said, we're a month away from football. He said, nah. As soon as that blade goes in the grass Wednesday, it's back, Will. Don't you be waiting until the end of August. So we're here, Austin.
That's because once the practice starts, he doesn't have to go to the garden and pick beans and tomatoes. so nobody's more excited about the start of fall camp than Hubbs, because that means he doesn't have to get out there at 6 a.m. and pick okra in the morning.
A wise man once called that the international harvester, Brent Hubbs. That's for sure. Austin Price joining us every week. Austin, thank you so much.
Appreciate it, Austin.
Thanks. Appreciate it.
Yes, sir. Austin Price with us.